You're going to need a compass and a set of compasses. And both of these things, as we'll show today, create a thing called the monad. And we are a very monadic church. And this is the monad. So here's your compass, and everybody knows the compass. You just put your pen in there. What you do is you put a point down, and then you circle all around. And this right here, this little thing that I'm doing right here, is a key to the mysteries. This simple little thing I'm doing right here. Put a little point down, and you circle around, and you know what you just had? Another key to the mysteries. That right there. That simple little circle with a dot in it is an entire key to the Bible, to you, everything. Your purpose. That. I know. It seems pretty simple, right? It is. This monad, this circle and the dot, actually represents our relationship to God. Because a true orientation, if we're going to orient ourselves to the cosmos, really what we're doing is going to orient ourselves to God Almighty. Okay? And that's what the monad is all about. There's two terms of God in the Bible, two basic terms being Lord and God. Okay? And these two terms recognize the bigness of God, his totality. God is all things everywhere, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. In that center, that spark, that's what's been given to us by God. That's the Lord inside, and then the God above. God is the totality, the Lord is that spark within, the God above. So that's God, and he's the big circle. And a circle is the geometric form that encapsulates the most amount of space. So if you make a square or a rectangle or a triangle, if you make it a circle, it's going to bring in as much as possible in that area. And that's why the circle, cross-culturally, has always been related to divinity, God. In fact, you'll see halos behind, Buddhist head and Taoist head and Christians and all of that sort of stuff, Hindus, that sort of thing. You'll see that circle, that golden, yellow, white circle behind somebody's head, and that represents divinity. Okay? Why? Because it's ultimately giving you a geometric form of totality. So God represents all of it. Then there's this little point that you make in your compass, and that represents you. And so that's you orienting yourself to everything around you, okay? A compass is a space, area, extent, its circumference, its circle, radius, size. A pair of compasses, of course, that's your compass. And then to go around, measure, divide equally. And that's really what this is all about. This is a core tenet belief of the Gnostic tradition. You realize you got a spark within you. Every single one of those sparks is divided equally among human beings. Doesn't matter your race, your creed, your color, your religion. It doesn't matter any of that sort of stuff. God gave you a spark of divinity, each and every one of us. Every single person has that divine spark within them. And this is what, when we look at compass, we means divide equally. Because God has taken the circle of his entire being, and every single one of us has a dot. And that's all divided equally. So when we talk about this circle, ultimately, stretching out to the farthest, bits and encompassing things and being the totality, that is basically a perfect metaphor for our compassion, our sympathy. Okay? The circle teaches us the bounds of our compassion. And where does the bounds of that circle end? Well, if it's God, it doesn't. Okay? The compass, just this simple little thing, teaches us about the spark within everybody, the bounds of our compassion, the nature of God, his totality, how he surrounds us all the time. In that center, that spark, that's what's been given to us by God. That's the Lord inside, and then the God above. So, one of the things that the monad will teach you about is the fundamentals of your cosmology, and that there's a point up north, just like this point in you, there's a point up north that tells you where that point of God is. God is the whole thing, of course, but then there's that one point that focuses, that everything revolves around, just like your compass. And God's in the center, because God's always in the center. But what we're going to do is orient ourselves, and we're going to use the Cherokee. This is from one of those documentaries, the Cherokee, and how they did it, how they taught their children the basics of their cosmology. So let's look into this, okay?
In the Cherokee cosmology, the Earth is suspended by the heavens by 4 cords, which correspond to the 4 cardinal directions: north, east, west, and south. These are also akin to the 4 corners of the Earth and the 4 seasons in the year. In addition, the Cherokee recognized 3 other directions: up, down, and center. They believed in an upper world of heaven and the sky realms, a lower world, below the earth, and the middle ground, or earth upon which we stand. With these three, added to the four compass directions, reveals the ever-sacred number 7, up, down, center, being 1, 2, 3, and the four cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west. This foundational geometric template of 6 around 1 is a notion considered sacred across the world, whose essence is captured in numerous sacred symbols such as the chi-rho, the menorah, the Star of David, and even the modern symbol for medicine is based on this fundamental geometric template. For the Cherokee, the number 7 symbolizes a level of purity that few can attain.
This is one of the things that we teach is known as Kabbalah. Kabbalah just means cube. So all Kabbalah is, and Allah means God, by the way. It's just a cognate for it. Basically, if you say Kabbalah, you're just saying cube God. That's all you're saying. Like, I teach cube God. I do. That's absolutely what I teach. Is because we recognize that the cube represents what? Exactly what we just showed. 6 around 1. It represents the number 7. So it's up, down, left, right, forward, and reverse. So this is what the cube is. So, and then we say, well, in that center, that spark, that's what's been given to us by God. That's the Lord inside, and then the God above. And so this is what the cube teaches us. This is why we're Kabbalists. So this is a central piece of knowledge to help you understand where Christ is, where God resides, to help you orient yourself to the cosmos. This is also why we've shown that when you actually look at some of these main symbols for, just religions, things like that, it's the same geometry. Because every single one of these things, these symbols, are trying to get you to understand at the very core one thing: your relationship to God. Your geometric relationship to God. Okay? The Freemasonic compasses and square, that's exactly one of the myriad things that's encoding. It's 1, 2, 3 points down, 1, 2, 3 points up, and then a center. The Mogan David, or just the hexagon. I mean, this is, people see that and they assume like Judaism or things like that. And that's how snowflakes form when they fall and crystallize into midair. They form in a geometry of 6 around 1. Because everything is that center point of that monad. This is called the seed of life. Forms the flower of life. It's 6 around 1. Modern symbol of medicine. Menorah, 7-branch menorah, 1 in the center, 3 and 3. Does everybody follow? And then you have the chi-rho. The chi-rho is a symbol, and once again, most Christians have no idea. It's the chi-rho, the Greek symbol, is an X and a P, and it forms 6 around 1. Okay, and that P actually is a direct reference to the mathematical constant of pi, which we'll get into in a few lessons here. Okay, so every single one of these symbols, every single one, is there to tell you about this foundational piece of knowledge that just simply orients yourself to your cosmos, okay? All based on the number 7. Because this number 7 is so foundational to just even you figuring out where you are, this is one of the reasons that we focus on the number 7, and it's absolutely known across the mystery school tradition, across comparative mythology, religions, that sort of stuff, that the number 7 is a very, very sacred number. The principles of truth are 7. He who knows these understandingly possesses the magic key before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. So in other words...